11 years, 22 movies, and this podcast's 10th episode. This week on the JadedDragon podcast, Avengers Endgame.
You don't
Hey
go mess
everyone,
up
and welcome
again,
back
man.
to the...
Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the JadedDragon podcast with me, your host Matt, and this week I am joined by a ton of people. As per usual, we've got Ben, also known as SimmosFace here, joining us. But we've also, for the first time on... Well, no, actually, Nick was a guest once, but we've got some guests this week. We have Zach and Adam. Welcome everyone. Welcome to the show.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Fantastic. Thank you for joining us.
Of course.
Yep, that's the one.
Enthusiasm.
This is enthusiasm at 10:20. But this week we're talking about, just one of the biggest movies of all time, Avengers Endgame. I'm pretty sure the Russos just said you can like they're removing their spoiler embargo on the movie, so
Oh yeah, I heard that.
whatever that's supposed to mean.
Because they had a
I don't
spoiler
know.
embargo before where they just kicked down your door if you spoiled anything. Now it's
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
It'll make a
FBI, open up.
difference.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. But yeah, so we're here talking about Endgame. What did y'all think of the movie? It's pretty
Oh,
great,
man.
huh?
Oh
amazing.
man, don't get me started.
I mean,
So-
But that's the point,
we should
Adam.
get started because that's the point.
That's the
This
point
is
of
a
the whole
podcast. This is an audio
Yeah.
platform.
So
Yeah,
wait,
well,
let me
I'm
get
just
this.
wondering now.
We are starting off with spoilers, right? Because you mentioned it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
We're going straight into spoilers. Like, you can't. It's very, very hard to discuss this podcast without spoilers.
Batman dies.
So- Wait, did I say this podcast? I meant this movie. Okay, it's very hard to discuss. Yeah, you spoiled Adam.
Spoilers.
How dare you
Sorry.
spoil
I was
Endgame?
gonna spoil something. I was gonna spoil a different thing, but then I realized I don't think everyone in this party has seen it. Maybe probably Adam, but
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah. So spoilers going into this. So if you haven't seen the movie, why? But anyway,
Yeah, what's wrong with
please
you?
go see the movie.
And if you randomly hear me
Um,
scream about my time during this, don't question it.
oh yeah, okay. I thought that was gonna be an actual explanation.
No, you're not actually going to say what you're doing. You're just going to
No,
say,
not at all.
if I scream, you won't know why.
You
But
won't know why. You just have
anyway,
to deal with it.
spoilers starting in 3, 2, 1.
Iron
Goodbye.
Man dies. for
Okay.
real.
That's
Iron
also
Man dies.
yeah, okay. I was
That's
about
it.
to say that's also. I mean, I'm pretty sure Nick has joined us in the party. He's not saying
Oh,
he hasn't seen the movie.
It's his fault.
Nick.
I don't know.
What? Okay. Welcome, Nick, to the podcast.
I don't know
He's not
if
saying
you're
anything
not
either,
audio
he's
is
not
being
recording.
broadcasted. I don't know.
So
But
he's
I'm
gonna-
recording the audio.
I didn't even know you're doing a podcast.
So-
I should have joined in the first place.
It wasn't
Yeah.
obvious from the introduction. You
Have
joined
you
a
seen
while ago.
the movie yet?
Yeah, but I didn't want to leave over until you mentioned me.
But you have you seen the movie yet, Nick?
Yes, I've seen the movie.
Fortunately.
Okay.
You've seen it now?
It's okay, you can cut us
Okay.
all out in post.
Because you were going off at me
Yeah.
before.
I
for not
thought-
spoiling it.
Yeah. Because Zach just said you hadn't seen it, so I was a
I
bit
thought you
concerned.
hadn't.
so-
I didn't think you had seen it yet.
He's seen clips of it on Facebook and memes. He doesn't
Probably.
have Facebook.
Yeah, watch your whole thing on Facebook.
the out of context
Like that in real
memes
life.
for Endgame.
Yeah, but out of context.
Some of
I
them
love
were
out of
so
context.
like context was not required though. Like all the ones talking about Back to the Future
Like
references. It's like why
Cheeseburger
would they even be referencing
like-
it if there wasn't time travel?
There's ones that hinting at old man Cap, which are super obvious.
Oh yeah,
Because the entire old man Cap.
Ben, I
all
just got
of the comments.
14.15.
and a whole bunch
That's
to
decent,
do with
that's a
like
decent
Natasha
time.
falling off something.
Okay, achievement. What do I do now?
Yeah, and like Spider fighting bird leading to Spider falling. It's just like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
When did Falcon fight
Yeah.
Spider-Man?
No, he fought Birdman.
Yeah.
I mean, he did in his own movie.
Batman dies.
Batman
didn't die,
dies.
he's fine.
The only thing that happens.
It's really just the Snyder cut of Justice League.
Yeah.
I haven't
pretty
seen that,
much.
so it could be.
Yeah,
For
who
all I know.
knows?
What do I have to do?
I mean, nothing, because it doesn't exist.
Yeah, I don't think he finished it. I think, isn't that the point?
Yeah,
That's
the
why it
whole
hasn't-
point is
Yeah.
that
Yeah, that
like
is the point.
The point
he
of
did finish
life
filming
is
because
that-
of personal issues.
The point of life is there is no Schneider cut.
Yeah.
Sorry, people that wanted Justice League to be good.
Like me.
Like everyone.
I
That
yeah,
was
wouldn't
the same
everyone
Like
people.
want it
most
to be good?
people.
But they were the
If
same
there
people
wasn't
that
that-
wanted
there-
Suicide Squad to be good.
I wanted it to be good, and it wasn't at all.
Remember when Killer Croc put the bomb on the thing?
We're not talking about that
Oh,
movie.
no, sorry.
We're just completely
Sorry,
straight into DC. It's like, no, we're talking
Sorry,
about DC
that was
now.
the Lego Batman movie.
That was a good movie, okay? That movie was a masterpiece, and you cannot slander Lego Batman at all. It's a
Yeah,
great
I
it's a
know.
good movie.
I'm saying it's a good movie because it's just it calls out all the other Batman movies. It's just
It doesn't
so
call
good.
it all out.
No, like I don't know. It makes reference and calls out some of them, like the money burning scene from Dark Knight and
My-
stuff like that.
My favorite was them using the bat shark repellent on King Shark.
Yeah, that's.
That's classic. But anyway,
yeah, Endgame, huh? Yeah,
The actual thing we're meant to be talking about, you know what I mean?
the actual thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where to start? Where to start?
at the end.
At the end of the game.
Yep.
One
Oh,
thing
man,
like
that ending.
about the title, I
Yeah.
didn't
Why
realize
would you
that
actually
Tony
start
Stark
talking about the ending?
Tony Stark actually talked about, like, you know how he talks about a shield around the Earth, like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
That was
on
like
Age of
Ultron. That
Ultron.
was first,
Yeah.
Age of Ultron.
yeah,
Yep, yep.
and in this game, he actually references that as the end game in Ultron. I
Yeah.
didn't realize that.
He says this is the
yeah,
end
where
game
he's
now.
like,
I think
that
the
up there,
exact
that's
word
the end
is.
game.
Yeah,
There's a lot of
that's-
How,
I didn't
it's like,
realize
that up
that.
there, that's
We're in
end
the
game. How
end
you
game
guys
now.
planning on beating that?
Yeah, so he had to come up with a different end game, which was this giant time travel extravaganza with like Ant-Man and stuff. Just Paul Rudd was so good in this movie,
Yeah,
Like-
he
Yeah,
was.
he was.
better than all his other appearances for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah,
but
I'm kind of
he was
inclined
just-
to agree. I really liked this version of Ant-Man. I mean, I know it's the same, but
Okay, Ant-Man expert, come in, guys. Excuse me
Uh-oh.
a second.
Watch out.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Scotland
Oh
is
shit,
the
here we
greatest.
go again.
Okay.
Okay.
He's pretty good in this movie. He doesn't quite reach the levels that he should as the greatest character there is. But
But I
The
thought
greatest
Wasp was the
character there
greatest
is.
character.
well, Janet didn't get much
Settle
of a
down.
role in this movie, so I'll accept the fact that she was sidelined for this one because otherwise, Thanos is just nothing. But if they're
I
truly
mean, she was in the
going-
movie.
Yeah, she was. But if they're truly going Doctor Doom next, which is everyone seems to think is the set thing, like Doctor Doom has to be the next greatest villain to Thanos, right?
yeah, I don't know.
Now-
That'd be cool, but
Galactus?
I kind of want Cloud
Question mark?
Galactus.
Yeah, Galactus.
Cloud
question.
Galactus.
Not normal Galactus, just the one from Rise of the Silver Surfer. Why is it
The
called
best
Rise of
one.
the Silver Surfer? Galactus was the bad guy.
Like,
because they don't
yeah,
want to spoil
and
it.
it's
But everyone
Isn't
knows.
like-
Well, I mean, I guess not everyone. It's not like it's a plot twist or anything that Silver Surfer was actually a good guy.
and isn't he
Well,
like only a
yeah,
bad guy for the first half hour of the movie?
He's not even really a
Uh,
bad guy at any point in it.
Yeah.
They just fight him a bit.
I mean, it's
For no
they
reason.
just fight him for no reason.
He's just
Yeah.
annoying because he switches their powers, but he doesn't do anything wrong.
Oh, yeah, he
Yeah,
does do
that's
that.
true. That's very true.
Anyway, so if Doctor Doom was to be the next big bad, then I assume Ant-Man would have to get involved with that in a bigger role.
Just I'm just saying that Scott Lang's takedown of Doctor Doom is my favorite. It's just the best, and this is why. This is why you need to pay attention.
Welcome
to this
to my
character.
TED
He's
talk
gonna,
about
he's
Scott
going
Lang.
to be. He's gonna be great.
Hey, if they actually made TED Talks on this topic, I'd actually watch them.
They didn't do Cassie Lang's stature, but they sure as hell set up for it. So that's
They
good.
really did. That was a really good scene with like Ken Jeong and
I love
like,
Ken Jeong.
Paul Rogers sort
Rudd.
of meandering around.
My name's Paul Rudd.
San Francisco, looking at like the vanished list. That was
Oh, yeah.
that was really good, and him meeting up with Cassie. Like, oh, dude, that was close to the first crying moment of the movie.
Yeah.
That was close.
And then it was all downhill from there.
Yeah. What about my career?
That was the
all
end game.
downhill. Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, so is that setting up for Young Avengers? Is that something?
Probably.
Ooh.
Is Cassie
It seems likely.
Yes,
Because
Cassie's in
they
Young
would.
Avengers.
And
right.
what about
okay, I wasn't sure if she was in like a separate team or in Young Avengers. Not very familiar with the team.
She's in the original
team.
Well, sort of. The original run. The original team's like Iron Lad, Patriot, Wiccan, and Hulkling, I think. And then she joins like soon after with Kate Bishop. That is.
Right.
I should clarify, but I know you know who I'm talking about.
I know you know, but do the viewers know?
Yeah, exactly. Kate Bishop being the like second Hawkeye in the Marvel universe. Like that's not the best way of describing who she is. She's like
not the second.
no,
There was a
she's
bit where Barney was Hawkeye.
replacement.
Barney Barton,
Oh,
Hawkeye's brother.
y-
And Bullseye was Hawkeye,
She's
but I
a-
think she was around just before that. And they were Hawkeye at the same time.
She's a private investigator in LA, which now that I've seen Veronica Mars makes sense why you like her so much as a character. Then
Well, so
Yeah.
Kelly Thompson, the writer of the Kate Bishop series, described it as Veronica Mars inspired, but as a superhero. So
that's very good. But yeah, so do you guys think that Hawkeye's daughter from Endgame will become Kate Bishop in future movies?
It does seem likely. It looks like that's what they were setting her up as.
Yeah.
Right. Because
I'm
the
not
actress
entirely
that
certain.
played her in this movie is Joe Russo's daughter,
Oh,
or
really?
like maybe
I don't know.
niece. So
yes,
well they'll
she's
obviously
one
like
of
age
the
her up a
Russo's
bit
kids.
to be Kate, because
I
like she's
think-
pretty young in Endgame.
I think Kate will be a different character. If they have.
I mean,
Kate
I
in
kind of
it,
hope
that is.
she's a different character.
Yeah,
I
feel like
the
their
dynamic
relationship is-
between Hawkeye and Kate is built around them coming from totally different backstories.
Yeah, and he's not a
Like-
parental
Yeah.
figure at all for her.
No,
That's definitely not the way that they look at
mean,
each other.
to some extent, there's like kind of sexual tension between them. But like,
Jesus. Yeah.
some
Not
bits,
really. I think that
no.
there's something that can be read that way if you so wished, but I don't think it's ever going to
Exactly.
touch on that.
no,
True,
no,
true.
that wouldn't be great. But anyway, it'd be interesting to see what they do with new characters in like Phase 4 and beyond.
Yeah,
Like-
definitely.
Because like I saw a sort of mocked up timeline of what people think Phase 4 is going to be, and I saw Nova was a possible movie.
I think I saw
I'm
that
curious,
as well.
like,
yeah.
What Nova they're going to use? Like,
It'd probably be what the fuck is the kid's name? What's his name again?
the one from
Alex.
the South America, like the South. What's his name?
The South. Yeah, I don't remember.
The South. The Deep South.
It'll probably be the new one, but with inspirations taken from the story of Richard Rider. Richard Rider might actually be a character, but I imagine the whole Thanos destroying Xandar in Infinity War is
Sam.
Sam. That's it. Yeah, is probably a tie-in or like a reference to Annihilation, which is an important sort of event for Richard Rider. So there's probably going to be the idea that the Nova Corps is destroyed, and so Sam Alexander. That's why I thought Alex. His last name is Alexander. Is probably going to. They probably what they would do is have his origin story and maybe have Richard Rider show up as the experienced sort of mentor figure. Makes sense.
Yes.
But he's like the last Nova.
So, I was about to say, because Thanos destroyed Xandar. So, yeah.
That's true.
We'll see where it goes from there.
Mm.
Also, something else. There's something to tie in X-Men as well. Like, because you remember the bit where Rocket talks about the giant energy wave thing that went out when Thanos snapped?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And how Hulk talks about how most of the radiation from the gauntlet is gamma radiation, and that's why he can use it. Well, like he thinks he'd be the best option to use it later on. Like, I saw some theories saying that gamma radiation from the snap caused mutations, and so like mutants and stuff would spawn from that.
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird
I
explanation.
don't like that
but
idea.
It'd be a
Probably
way
stupid
to
idea.
get them in.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. It'd be
That's
interesting.
I mean, gamma radiation is a real thing. I know
Yeah,
you've
it
already
is,
suspended your
but-
disbelief to have it mutate the Hulk, but kind of like the idea that mutants could always exist because of gamma radiation. You know,
Then why aren't there mutants already? Because
In real
plenty of
life?
people have been
Yeah.
exposed to gamma radiation.
Yeah,
it's
I
a bit
feel
of
like
a
it'd be
stretch.
better if they
Yeah.
just like played off that just like they already existed and we just hadn't seen them yet.
they're definitely in the comics. There's this weird thing about they have this long history. You know, there are characters like Apocalypse, who's an Egyptian. He's immortal. So mutants have been around for a long time in the comics. But when they're first appearing in the 60s, apparently nobody knew about them. So they could just do that. You know,
Yeah.
just do what they did
That's true.
first.
They just appear.
You kind of suspend your
Yeah.
disbelief as it goes on. It doesn't have to be so super widespread, I don't think.
True.
True. I'm just like the way Marvel movies have done it. They've like tried to base it as much in reality as possible. Like there is like obviously suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, no, I
Yes.
get what you mean.
Of course there is.
That's the one. Yeah, obviously. But like they have tried, like they consulted with physicists on the time travel stuff for Endgame and things like that. So
Oh yeah.
maybe they'll try and explain mutants. I'm
Maybe.
not really sure. But yeah.
Another reason why Scott Lang is so great. He single-handedly figured out why the pin particles work the way they do. Everyone's like, pin particles, just magical god particle. Well, Scott Lang figured it out. He explained it. It's not a simple size axis. It's got X, Y, and the other ones that I forget that they use in, geometry or whatever that's mathematics is.
Zed.
Z.
Yeah.
That's the one.
X, Y, and
that's the-
That's
Z.
the last one in the alphabet.
Makes so much sense, guys.
Yep. You
Oh,
got
the
it.
Scott Lang could figure it out.
Only Scott Lang. See, I can figure it out.
It's really
And I
interesting
read his
how like
explanation.
how competent Scott became in this movie without hope and stuff. Well, like he felt like he had
That's a character.
like
Just to clarify.
Yeah.
It's not that he was out of hope.
yeah, but he without them he felt like he needed to try and explain everything. Like he
I get what
he
you
had to
mean,
like
'cause in
understand
terms of, like-
himself and
Yeah, 'cause in
then
terms of, like,
explain
in
it to other
movie
people
time-
because he was the expert about it.
Yeah, and there wasn't really much time for him between the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp and the beginning of Endgame.
About
That's
5
true.
hours.
Yeah,
Oh,
where it's like
Yeah.
everyone else, it kind of makes sense because they had years in between, but
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
he is the hope. Is that symbolism?
Yeah. I guess that could be counted as symbolism.
yeah, that could be something. So something English related. Yeah, he's a good character. I'm not really sure whose movie this is, because people characterized Infinity War as Thanos' movie, but
Yeah.
I'm not really sure whose movie Endgame.
I'd
I
say
mean, does
Iron
it
Man
have to
probably.
be any one person's? Because
It doesn't. but
Iron
I'd
Man
say
and
that
Cap,
It definitely
maybe.
follows Iron Man, and I'd honestly say Nebula. Is second.
It's
Yeah.
Nebula's.
Nebula's
yeah.
character arc in this movie is fantastic.
Yeah, it is actually.
It's
quite
always
good.
good when people get to fight themselves.
But they're also setting up Thingo as the next Captain America when they give him his shield at the end, right?
Yeah.
Falcon.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah, it's actually.
I
I guess
He
I'll
only
have to
arrives
get
at
Sam
Disney
Wilson,
Plus
Captain
now.
America origin story.
I got that comic right.
Yeah. I'm keen for that.
Yeah. That should be good.
Yeah, that's gonna be really interesting. Because he doesn't have his wings when he becomes Captain America, right?
Doesn't
He
he? I
does.
was wondering
Has
about
the
that because
shield?
I'm not very
He
familiar
does have the
with it.
wings. He just
He
wears
does.
Captain
Yes.
America's uniform with wings.
Flying
Why,
cap.
if you had the wings,
Yeah,
why would
awesome.
you remove them? It's like
Yeah, that's what I was.
Captain
Yeah.
thinking.
Captain America doesn't have wings. Sorry.
He's just like, I gotta nerf myself. I can't have
could
wings
just-
and the
I
shield.
got the shield now.
He could just switch from the Falcon to the bald eagle.
Yeah.
Oh my days, that'd be. So you have the white wolf and the bald eagle.
Oh man.
So good. Animorphs, anyone?
I don't
Sounds
think
good.
they actually change into animals. It's not Beast Boy.
Beast Boy. It's not Transformers Beast Wars.
Mhm.
No, it's
Well,
not
it should
that
be.
thing.
It's not, but it should be.
It should be, but it's not.
One of the great tragedies of our lifetime.
Beast Wars isn't getting remade.
Damn
Tragedy.
it. God damn it. Remake Beast Wars. I'm gonna start a petition to remake Beast Wars now.
And
Oh,
all
God.
500 people will sign it.
Yeah. I think you're giving me too much
Um,
credit. 480.
Wait, yeah, I was about to say. Oh no, I'd say about 10.
I wouldn't sign it. I
Nebula
don't know
has-
what that is.
Yeah, you don't know what Beast Wars is? How? No.
What do you mean how?
It's
You
like-
just make a joke about how no one would sign it. Some people wouldn't know what
Yeah.
And then surprised when this one individual does not know what Beast Wars is.
Dear. But yeah, Nebula has a really good arc in this movie.
Yeah, it was
Like-
really interesting.
It's just
Honestly,
had a like.
were you gonna say something? I was gonna say something.
No, I
but then-
was. 'Cause
No,
I
that
had to
was it.
think
He's
about
done.
it. You say it. I'm done.
I honestly think that her arc has been set up really well by James Gunn as well. Just like it would feel like if you weren't concentrating too hard or weren't or hadn't seen the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, the strength of her character kind of came out of nowhere because she wasn't too much of a focus of Infinity War. But the idea of her arc is probably one of the best, second to Iron Man maybe, in terms of the past 10 years. I feel like there are a lot of characters. I'd say Captain America definitely gets an arc, and I know some people will appreciate it more than me, but it feels like when you're writing a character
Hawkeye
who-
gets an arc.
Hawkeye gets an arc. I don't.
Does
Yeah.
it? Though?
Yeah.
He gets bits and pieces.
It's kind of
was
like
really
they
good.
weren't happy with what they were doing with Hawkeye before, and so they just wrote a new plot for him for this movie. Because
Yeah.
the basis of his character is sort of just completely disassociated with what he was before.
I'm kind of glad they ditched Ronan pretty quickly.
Yeah,
Like he was just sort of Ronan for a little bit,
Yeah.
and then he just became Hawkeye again. That was nice. But yeah, I mean, it did resolve the sort of Hawkeye-Nat relationship pretty well.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Quite well.
Although what it didn't, I mean, I think, didn't really go anywhere with the Nat and Bruce relationship.
Yeah, I feel like
They
that
kind
wasn't
of like
very popular
set that
after
up a
Age of
lot
Ultron,
in Age
so
of
they-
Ultron, and then
Yeah, they were worried to
they
use
just
it
didn't
again.
really take it any further.
Mm.
yeah, that was a whole subplot, wasn't it? Yeah,
It was
It was
referenced
like
a
big
few
in Age of
times in
Ultron,
Endgame.
and then
They acknowledged that it was there.
Yeah.
yeah,
But
they just,
they were afraid to go anywhere with it because of it garnered some negative response after Age of Ultron.
yeah.
I mean, it would have been weird if they focused on it for an extended period of time in this movie, because there just wouldn't be time to do it any sort of service. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, they tried to do it, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
and
they did it in
almost
the best way that
completely
they
brushed over
could
it
have
in
done it.
Infinity War. Infinity War, they had like
Oh yeah.
one line, and
I
that
was
was
just like,
it.
hey, Nat.
Yeah,
I think it
Hi.
could have been better done in Infinity War. In this one, in Endgame, it's certainly more difficult because it's Hulk's plot is serving as he has had an arc since, I guess, the end of Age of Ultron, moving onwards, and the arc of his
Yeah.
character makes his relationship with Black Widow certainly a complicated one to follow up on after Age of Ultron.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is
Matt,
when you
might
get
I
the
just point
spinning
out
wheels.
that
It's super hard to write this.
I called out Professor Hulk like what 2 months before the movie's release, something like that.
Oh,
I
well,
called that he
mean,
was going to be in
you
it.
were wrong.
yeah.
It's
It
not
seems
Professor
like
Hulk.
pretty
Okay.
logical.
Well, it's more or less Professor Hulk.
Yeah, I can.
I just
see
wanted
that
Joe
close
Fixit.
enough.
I can't see why they didn't bring Joe Fixit. I mean,
Joe
it's
Fixit.
everyone's favorite Hulk character, Joe Fixit. Still
don't
haven't
know about
utilized that one.
We're just
They
waiting
still
for
haven't.
They're waiting for the
They
right
still
moment,
haven't
and then they're
phased
just going to
into
drop it
that.
on us.
Phase 10. Once they've done their Squirrel Girl trilogy.
Yeah, I'm waiting
it's-
for that. She could defeat Thanos by herself. I don't know why they didn't just bring her in for an Endgame.
They're gonna do Squirrel Girl
I don't
at
know
some
why
point.
they didn't just start with her before Iron Man.
She should have been
Yeah.
the 2007 hit movie Squirrel Girl.
Iron Man was a B-list hero, right? Before
No,
Iron
a lot
Man.
of people say that. That's not. I don't think he's a B-list hero. I mean, he's not Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, Wolverine, but those are the like 4 biggest. He's
Oh,
one
no,
of
he's pretty much the
Marvel's
biggest.
top big 3.
I'd
He
say
always
he's
has
one of the
Yeah,
biggest.
I
He's
don't know. I
pretty
feel
much
like
the
people
biggest.
sort
now.
of like Thor, Captain America, and Hulk as like the big 3 before Iron Man.
You
Maybe
ignoring
that's just
Spider-Man
me.
in that entire
Oh,
thing?
well, obviously
Yeah,
Spider-Man.
see, Spider-Man is
and
the biggest.
Wolverine,
No.
but like of the
Yeah,
By
MCU
far, you
ones.
can't.
I think Wolverine has
would
had
be-
more appearances, but Spider-Man's more popular.
Oh, obviously
Just-
Spider-Man's like far and away.
Yeah. I just was trying to remember the distinction between the two. Is Spider-Man
Yeah.
and Wolverine are way up there in terms of popularity. I think Wolverine had more appearances just because there was that period in the 2000s where they shoved him in every book.
And every movie.
And every movie, mind you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman did our
Uh,
country proud.
What about... Aren't Fantastic Four fairly popular as well?
That's true.
Like, just as
They
a
have
genre?
fairly consistent popularity. I feel like it's more people who
But
are
not
fans
like
of comics
the
like
big- like
Fantastic Four, but they
a
don't have
massive
much
population of
appeal outside of comic books.
I'm really
Right,
they're one
because,
of the
you
people
know,
I'm
the
most
movies.
hyped for to see in Phase 4, hopefully.
That's really good to hear because I have not heard a lot of people being very excited for them. I think it's just because of the other movies not being particularly great. But I really like
Yeah, I mean,
Fantastic Four.
I liked the first 2 a lot more than they get, credit for. I mean, they weren't amazing, but
I like the first
liked
one
them.
quite
I liked
a bit.
Yeah, the first one I liked, and I hope they bring
Yeah.
back a kind of cast in similar kind of vein. I don't know.
I mean, it can't be Chris Evans.
No, it can't be. Yeah, unfortunately.
Michael
Well,
Chiklis is so good though.
If they pay him enough, maybe.
But no, but it's just old
Yeah.
Cap as
Yeah.
Johnny Storm.
Johnny Storm's character trait is that he's the young one of the group and he's just old Captain
Isn't there a
America.
isn't there a Mortal Kombat movie being made as well? Now that I think about it.
Yeah, that
I mean,
isn't
probably.
endorsed
There's a
by
Sonic the
the Mortal
Hedgehog movie
Kombat
being made.
people.
So.
No, it is because
It's being made, Adam. That's
Did
coming
you guys
out.
see that they're
Well, I think it needs a bit more time. So.
Oh, put that one back in. It's not done yet.
It's like Josh Long eating his
That-
pizza on schoolies and throwing up all over the beach because he didn't cook it long enough.
What?
We were drinking, and then Josh thought it'd be a good idea to cook a microwave a frozen Aldi pizza, but he didn't cook it long enough, so ended up throwing up all over the beach.
Nice.
All right then.
All right.
Yeah.
I kind of forgot we were talking about, because now all I can think about is Josh throwing up on the beach.
That's all you need to think about.
It is
Yeah,
the only
that's
important thing
that's
to
right.
think
Yeah,
about.
that's right.
Well, yeah, Fantastic Four. Hopefully, it'll be good.
I like
Yeah,
I
that'd be-
like Benjamin J. Grimm.
Oh yes.
It's clobbering time. I just wanted to say that. I just want to hear that.
Yeah.
It's
I just want to hear
time.
that as like the after credit scene for some movie. This whatever the next one is. Far From Home after credit scene.
I want them
It's
to release
clobbering
a
time.
trailer that's 3 seconds long of just him saying it's clobbering time. Announcement trailer.
Yep.
And then him getting rejected by his wife or something for being Rock Monster.
Oh, yeah.
From
Jeez.
The Walking Dead.
Yeah,
I don't remember
I
the
don't know.
actress's name, but she was Andrea in The Walking Dead.
I think so. Spider-Man: Far From Home is
Yeah,
still
who's meant
part
to be
of
the villain
Phase
of that?
3.
No, it's Phase 4. No, it's the first movie
Mysterio.
of Phase 4, isn't it?
Mysterio
I
is
thought
the
so.
I
villain.
heard it was supposed
But
to
what
be the
about
end of
the-
Phase 3.
Yeah, it's the last
I
one.
don't know.
Phase
It's
three.
like the epilogue.
With
But
what,
then
what
that
are the
made me
giant
confused about the box set.
element monsters?
The Elementals.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the elementals, right? Yeah.
Is Sandman one of them, or is it just something that looks like Sandman?
It's something that looks like him.
I mean, it's Sandman.
Yeah,
It
I
is.
just,
Sandman's
they just
back
better not
again.
like treat him as just some giant sand monster. I want to see some stuff.
But
with
that's
the
what he
Whitmore.
is, Adam. That's the problem. Don't treat him like what he is.
I forgive you.
Oh boy.
Blows away in the wind. I love that movie.
He got dusted before it was cool.
That's so true.
Now it's time to take on Venom.
I think they already did that at that point. They don't just stop to
Oh, yeah.
forgive Michael in the middle of a fight.
Yeah, this big redemption arc comes to peak halfway through a fight with Venom.
Because despite what people think, that movie is actually really well made.
I love Venom. Yeah.
I like
No, not
it.
Venom.
Just
Spider-Man 3.
no, Venom. Screw Spider-Man 3. I like Venom.
Venom is terrible.
I'm a reporter.
I'm
I'm a reporter.
The guy you work for is an evil person.
What? No way.
The bit where,
What?
where the girl asks him the question, he's like, now that's a very good question. Anyway, I'm going now. Mhm. So you set up this guy's a bad guy. He just doesn't answer a little
That's
girl's
all the
question.
proof I need.
Make him an apple. Make him look even more like an asshole.
Time to go swim with some lobsters.
Oh yeah, he did do that sort of in a scene that was not relevant to anything.
Yeah. What are you talking about? It was the linchpin for the whole movie.
Maybe it was. I don't really remember. There was a bit where he made out
Dude.
with himself. No, with Venom.
Oh yeah,
Venom. Yeah.
But it was his girlfriend.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
really weird.
So, do we think it's okay? No, we don't. We're just gonna skip over that fact entirely.
But that tongue, though.
Eddie, the
just
suit.
all the way
You
down.
gotta take it off.
Eddie.
That's the better side of.
I'm hungry, Eddie. Venom, it's 3 a.m. Eddie. I want a sandwich, Eddie.
Venom's just an ongoing roommate.
Yeah,
And Eddie Brock.
Venom, you smoke too much weed. Eddie.
Because he's a really successful reporter in the movie for some reason. Even though everyone
Who knows
hates him.
why, man?
But
I
he
guess
lives in a
lot
shitty
of journalists
apartment.
People hate. I don't know. It's the slightest bit confusing. The setup of that film.
But Endgame. Yeah. It's. Is it possible for the MCU to be my favorite 49-hour-long movie?
Hey,
Yeah,
I'm
look,
planning
I
to
kinda
sit
get
down
what
and
you
watch
mean.
them all in order at some point.
oh man.
We'll do that. We can do that.
Yeah, we can. That's a thing that we can
Nah,
do.
like split it up into like 4 separate goes or something.
Nick chimes in
No,
for the first
all at
time in
once.
30 minutes to groan.
You can just add that in sporadically through the podcast.
Yeah,
Personally, I think it's my favorite Marvel movie.
It's
Like out of the
Yeah,
context of the other ones, and in context of the other ones.
yeah. Look, it's certainly up there. I'm still undecided. It's definitely like top 2 or 3, but I reckon it could be
Yeah.
my favorite as well.
I'd say that it's the first one of the MCU films that really captures the sort of craziness of a comic book event. I know a lot of people were
Yeah,
saying
that's
that
true.
about Civil War, but I'm here thinking I remember this big fight in Civil War.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
What I-
it looks like there's like 2 people here compared to that. There's a lot of people in that,
Yeah.
and now there's
Yeah.
like
The
Yeah.
only
you can't even see everyone.
the only like comic book thing in like the comic book event thingy in Civil War was like when Cap, Bucky, and Iron Man was fighting. Like that stood out to
Mm.
me more than
Yeah,
the
that's
airport fight.
I'm definitely
Yeah.
not criticizing the airport fight. I really like
The
that.
entire airport fight, I was just thinking about the Deadpool quote. It looks like the studio couldn't afford any more heroes. It's the entire time I was watching that fight, I'm just like, okay.
But that
Yeah,
joke
that's the
doesn't
only
make
quote
sense
in my head
because
right
they
now. Stinks,
did
I don't
have
like
those
it.
heroes in the background.
Yeah, they did.
Come on,
Like all
Deadpool, get
the-
your act together.
Yeah, jeez.
I know you have a problem
but
with
yeah.
Deadpool, Ben, but
I don't have a problem with
No
Deadpool.
need.
I just don't like Deadpool 2. I think it was a bad movie.
yeah, actually, that was
Ooh.
kind of average compared to the first one.
And
And then they have the
I liked
nerve
it.
to release
mean-
Once Upon a Deadpool, which is just Deadpool 2 with no swear words and intercut bits of him tying a dude to a bed.
Like, can I
Yeah.
say about Deadpool
That's-
2? The reason why it's a bad movie. This is the one, like, objectively, it is a bad movie because they did
Because
this.
they don't
I don't care about
utilize
the rest of the
Juggernaut.
movie, even if I have, sort of, even if I didn't, like, I mean, I don't like other parts about the movie, but this is the part where I can say it's definitely objectively a bad movie, and you can't argue with me because you won't be able to convince me otherwise, is they have
Okay.
Black Cassidy in the movie. They have
Right.
Juggernaut in the movie. Juggernaut is introduced into the film the same scene that Black Tom Cassidy dies, but, like, half a minute afterwards. It's like they brought
Yeah.
two of the greatest duo in X-Men together, only to have them
So-
seconds away from having any interaction whatsoever. It's like,
That's
are you
true.
an insane person? Who wrote
Probably.
this? Somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, clearly. They just thought, oh,
Yeah.
Juggernaut's cool. Who's this Black Tom Cassidy guy? I bet somebody from the studio was like, you can use these 2 characters. And they pitched them together because they're supposed to go together. And somebody didn't know who Black Tom Cassidy was. So they just made jokes about him having black in his name. And then they were like, Juggernaut's really cool. Let's put him all over this movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
look, I reckon that's 1,000,000% what
Yeah,
happened.
actually. Yeah, that's really
That
that
seems-
whole jail cell thing. Yeah, that wasn't
Wasn't their
great.
finest moment. Not
No.
my finest moment. To quote the spy.
But
Oh, that's who that was.
Not my finest moment. I was playing TF2 for about 3 hours today. That's why. It's in my head, I don't
Right.
know.
the spy is a spy.
The spy. Maybe I'm the spy. His soldier just shoots himself in the face. Oh my god.
What?
Have you not seen that short? They're having an
No.
argument over who's the spy that broke in, and the soldier's like, what if I'm the spy? Pulls his shotgun and shoots his own head off.
Son's just the greatest character.
I know, he's amazing. I've done nothing but teleport bread for 3 days. Why did
What's
you
this
do that?
mold on it? D-
Mm. Don't say, can I have the bucket? Can I have the bucket? You can have the bucket.
The TF2 comics are also really good.
I know.
Uh,
Some of
that's
the
a recommendation.
fan-made SFMs are actually really good.
Yeah,
the
just because
Dear
Source
Sister.
filmmaker made it really easy to use them and Left 4 Dead characters
Yeah.
and Garry's Mod characters. And, well, Garry's Mod characters are like Half-Life characters.
People
really.
put like Overwatch characters and all that shit into Source as well. They just
Yeah.
made the custom entities.
If the models
and
are
they do it with-
there. That's not a very common thing though. People using source filmmaker
Yeah.
anymore.
Oh,
It used to be really big.
yeah. It's still used, but nowhere near as much as it used to be.
Yeah, that was like a early 2010s thing, wasn't it?
Anonymous
That's when
is
I
still
remember a
doing
lot
it
of the stuff coming out.
on occasion.
Winglet's
His
still
videos are
doing
great.
it. Winglet's amazing, and he still does it.
I mean, Germa did some things back in the day, but that was What's even German doing these days?
I think he's doing streams, isn't he?
Is he still uploading stuff?
Yeah.
He was in a video. He was in one of Kraken's videos, like quite recently.
Yeah, I
Sounds
reckon.
like.
I don't know if I've seen any of Kraken's videos with Gemma in them, but I reckon he'd fit in with that crowd really well.
Just sort of like totally irreverent, ridiculous humor. It's
The
good.
sort of improv, like they create their own comedic narrative as they're playing video games. That's exactly what he does.
Cause
So-
it's easy.
Comedic narrative while playing video games reminds me of like 2012 Thanos on Black Ops 2. If you guys ever watched that.
Oh yeah,
I
like when he actually
haven't seen
made
him
good
play Black Ops
videos.
2.
Yeah, back when he actually made good videos.
Yeah, man, Vanos, huh?
Is he the owl guy?
Yeah, he is the
Yeah,
owl
he's
guy.
the owl guy.
His early GTA videos are actually really good as well. It kind of slipped off once Black Ops 3 came out. They had one good zombies video on Black Ops 3, and then it would kind of just all downhill from there.
Yeah, but Endgame.
But Endgame.
How many times have I said that this episode? Anyway,
3?
multiple. Yeah, this movie definitely encapsulate the sort of splash pages of the events comics really well. Like, there's multiple scenes that you could like fit into that framework, and it's so
Yeah, I
good. Like
agree.
with Cap with Thor's hammer when all the portals are opening up behind him.
Oh yeah.
Um,
And just
yeah,
like that
that's so
first
good when they're, like-
charge in the final battle.
oh, dude.
man.
Like, and
Just
like
even
when
the portals
A-Force
opening up.
forms up.
Just when the
Falcon
portals
saying
open
on
in the
your
final
left.
battle.
Was
On your
Oh,
left.
yeah,
Iconic.
That like solidified the status of this movie for me. Just like, okay, this is a fucking fantastic movie.
Yeah.
It's just,
I think my favorite bit
Oh,
was
right.
when they were gonna do the elevator scene again, where he beats everyone up in the elevator because it's
and then he
rumbles
just
Oh,
says
yeah.
"Hail Hydra."
Have you seen all the
Oh,
memes where it's
yeah,
like young
that
Cap,
was
old Cap, and then it's
gold.
Spider-Man pointing at himself?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I have. Yeah, no, that elevator scene was great. I was so expecting him to just fight them again, just like from Winter
Yeah.
Soldier. And then the Hail Hydra was way, way better.
It's so much better because it's a. I mean, not only is it just hilarious, but it's kind of a subtle reference to Secret Empire, which is something
Yeah.
I wasn't
Just whispers in
expecting to
his
see in
ear,
the movie.
"Hail Hydra."
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
and like, I guess that comic series was like, yeah, that series was coming out when Endgame was filming, so I guess that would make sense.
when was Endgame filming?
At least like that, like the Hail Hydra bit.
Yeah.
Was
I
it-
thought the Hail Hydra thing was recent, wasn't it?
It-
Like
it was
last year, the
2016.
year before. 2016. Okay, that makes a bit more sense. But I thought it was like fairly recent.
To be fair, the Secret Empire event that when he said Hail Hydra, that was in 2016. The Secret Empire event was 2 years ago, I think. Yeah, I think it might have been
Right.
2017. I don't remember.
But yeah, most of that all of that New York scene was really good.
Oh yeah.
Like the America's ass running
This is
joke. Was
this is
really good.
America's ass.
That sir is America's ass.
I'm just glad they commented on the
And,
worst
like-
costume in the series.
That suit does nothing for your ass cap.
It's,
Um,
designed that one.
yeah.
Coulson.
Anybody keeping up with Agents of
Agent
Shield?
Philip. I don't
I can't
watch it.
say
Is,
that
he,
I
is
am.
Coulson still in it?
Yeah. So I saw the trailer for the new season. He's kind of in it.
Right.
Yeah.
But Agent Carter was fairly significant plot point in this, or
Oh,
like
yeah.
fairly heavily referenced. So that was pretty cool. Like of all the like Marvel TV shows, that would be like the most suitable one to reference in the MCU. So I'm
Especially in
glad
this movie.
they did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Young, what's his face?
Howard
There's
Stone.
a lot of young versions of characters.
No, Ant-Man.
Baby
Michael
Ant-Man.
Douglas.
Young Michael Douglas was slightly disconcerting, but that
Oh,
might have
yeah.
just been the haircut. But that
Yeah,
was
that
that
was
was really
great.
good. Seeing the old Ant-Man, or like the original Ant-Man helmet
Yeah.
there, that was really cool.
I find it kind of interesting
Um,
that they gave Hank Pym and Scott Lang black hair in the movies. Because Scott's got orange hair,
Yeah.
or like red hair, and Hank's blonde, or a light brown maybe. But yeah, I guess they
Yeah.
both have.
Black hair.
Yeah,
It was kind of
Yeah, they
hard.
just-
You find an actor, you can't really. You don't.
yeah. I don't think
It's
Paul
kind of
Rudd
difficult.
would look that convincing as a ginger.
Maybe he would.
Yeah.
I guess we'll never know.
Don't know about that one, but yeah,
Guess we'll
That'd be-
never know.
interesting. We'll never know. We'll never know.
Unless
I didn't unless
Exactly.
he did change his color.
Maybe
Yeah.
maybe he is a ginger by nature and he just dyed it black. You'd never know.
Maybe.
Exposed. Paul Rudd is really a
Hashtag Paul
ginger.
Rudd exposed.
Drama alert.
What's going on? It's Killer Keemstar here.
And then how about the Jarvis origin story? What Endgame's really all about with
Well, that was a
real person
reference to-
Jarvis?
that was a reference
Real
to
person
that-
Jarvis is amazing.
Agent Carter as well, because Jarvis is the Stark family butler in terms of the movies, is in Agent Carter. So
Oh,
he
right,
was
really?
Is he?
yeah,
'Cause I
he's a
haven't seen
crossover
Okay.
character.
Carter. Oh, right.
Like
That's really
the first
cool.
character to cross over from the TV shows to the movies.
Oh, that's actually really cool.
Yeah.
I knew that.
Mm. There's his 3 words. He's gonna leave this. He's gonna leave the podcast now.
And let's go now. I think I already referenced Dan in real life.
I
but
must
that was before
away.
Nick joined the party.
My
Oh
job
yeah,
is
it
done.
was before Nick joined the party.
In reference to what?
I don't
I
remember.
guess you don't need a reason to not reference Dan in real life. So was that not just referencing the old Iron Man comic where Jarvis was the butler?
Yeah,
Well,
that's what
I mean, it's
took
more
it as,
the.
but I haven't seen
yeah.
Agent Carter.
I'd say it's interesting to me that Jarvis is he is an old Iron Man character, but I feel like maybe to move him away from just being Alfred, he became less of an Iron Man character, more of an Avengers character, because he's always the butler at the Avengers mansion.
Right.
But then he also became Vision. So
Well, in the movies, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because I had in all new, all different Avengers, Jarvis is still like a character, like
Mhm.
not an AI or something. He's still a character. That's right.
Yeah, Jarvis is still a character. They didn't just.
He's so good.
There's one of the things that
Yeah.
they didn't.
You can be an
retcon in the
AI and a
comics to be more
character.
like
It
the
is a
movies.
movie.
It is a.
It is a movie.
It is a
after
movie?
all.
Oh right, that's what you mean.
Yeah. He was
Yes,
very
you can.
confused for a second there. It is a movie? What?
Yeah. It's just
Paul
yeah.
Sneed.
Apparently, Jarvis is a recurring character in Wasp as well, Unstoppable Wasp, about Nadia Pym.
Is that? Oh, okay, so that's a new series.
It's been around for a few years now. I know it got cancelled and then it
Okay.
came back because the trade was popular. I don't know if it's still around.
Right. I'm just trying to think which Wasp was in the Wolverine, like the all new Wolverine comic.
Probably Nadia.
Might have been Nadia. Yeah, it was Nadia.
Yeah.
Because because they normally like coincide with each other,
Yeah.
like new running series.
She's the active one right now as well. I think Janet's like semi-active.
Right.
Fair enough.
How about let's just go through some different categories, like favorite whatevers, and just like y'all
Fair
can
enough.
chime in with your favorite moments from the movie. So
You're
like
right.
most epic scene from the movie. What do you all
Mm.
think? What was like your favorite
Portal
moment
opening.
That
from
was
the movie?
totally
Before
epic.
the fight. All the portals
Totally
opening
epic.
before the fight.
The
Welcome
most
to my
totally
Watch Mojo list.
epic games moment was the appearance of Fortnite.
You need to
No,
be
that's just
quiet.
the best
With,
moment in
You're
general.
fired. You're fired.
Noob. Oi, Noob Master 69, he's bullying me.
Oh, Cog. It was
Cog
really
was
Cog
so
movie.
Surprise Cog appearance.
And don't forget Meek.
Oh, Mick, yeah. Yeah, look, that's tough. Most epic moment. I mean, I'm assuming we're going more specific than just the whole final battle.
I mean, it could. I don't know. Be just
I don't know.
Whichever
That
bit.
final I Am Iron Man is definitely up there.
Yeah, yeah, I think it has the most epic.
Yeah.
Because the original I Am Iron Man is one of my favorite movie moments ever. It's such a fantastic inversion of what you expect
Yeah.
from a superhero movie.
like just totally getting like it totally suits his character to do that whilst
Yeah.
also getting rid of the whole stigma that superheroes have to hide their identity.
It's really interesting as a character arc. It sort of defines his character arc. There's a whole lot of
Yeah.
he has the most
Yeah, I
depth
think
of
so.
character of any of the MCU characters so far, which makes sense because he's been in it the longest.
In the most of them as well. Yeah.
But the idea of his openness as Iron Man is sort of very pervasive throughout his arc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially with like the effects of his PTSD after New York,
Oh,
because he
yeah,
was still
Iron Man
like this
3.
very like public facing character in the universe, and to see
Yeah.
him sort of fall apart like this after New York and like do all these things like with Ultron and Civil War and stuff, like that was really interesting. I'm kind of glad they didn't go the like alcoholism route for the for
Yeah.
Iron
Well,
Man.
Disney-
That was
yeah.
they kind of like did that with Iron Man 2. Like that was supposed to be Demon in a Bottle, but they didn't go too hard on it because I think
Yeah.
Disney was in the middle of acquisition of Marvel at the time, so they probably weren't too certain of it. And then by that point, they weren't gonna come back for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm glad how they kind of just replaced it with PTSD from New York.
It's almost like each Iron Man movie and probably the Avengers movies and Cap Civil War movies where Iron Man is a main protagonist.
Or Spider-Man.
Maybe Spider-Man. I mean, I haven't thought about them all individually, but it's kind of like the phrase "I am Iron Man" can be used to describe his arc in each movie, but if you use it in a different way, so Iron Man 3
Like a
is sort
different
of
tone.
about he has this stress and this worry that he's Iron Man, but he's just a man. So
Yep.
Yeah,
all the
it was
threats
more
that
he's
Iron Man
only
as the
an Iron Man
superhero
when he's in the
Yeah.
suit, and then the
Yeah.
kind of realizations that he's Iron Man whether he's in the suit or not.
Yeah, so that's the conclusion that he comes to, but he has this anxiety that he's not going to be able to stand up to the threats that a superhero should be able to stand up to because he's just a human.
That's true.
Like something from Avengers, like that line Cap says, it's just like, without the suit, what are you? And like he jokes about saying
Junior
billionaire,
yeah,
playboy, philanthropist.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that has more connotations the more that I think about it for his character arc, because like I think that kind of sets him off, and like it's sort of accentuated through him going into space and seeing what he just didn't understand before, like the sort of existence of other life and stuff beyond Earth that could threaten Earth.
Yeah.
And that sort of made the "who am I without the suit" in Iron Man 3 all that more powerful. What do you guys think about Iron Man 3 as a movie? I really
liked
liked
it.
it.
I liked it.
Yeah. I
I
think
liked
it's
all
really
the suits
underrated.
and everything. It was good.
I think
Yeah,
it
the
has
suits
its
were cool as
issues,
well.
but it's
It doesn't have
I
everything.
think that yeah. I mean, they all have their own issues. I think more in terms of the themes, the themes of the movie overall. It's not necessarily the best, but I think, and the narrative is kind of generic. But I think the character
Yeah, it is.
of Tony, the stuff that they do with character is really good.
I
And
get what you mean,
some other
yeah.
themes are interesting. I like so there's a massive complaint about the movie that a lot of people have is the idea that they did away with this sort of terrorist threat that they could have done with, and instead repeated from the previous movies the same threat that they had,
Yeah.
which is this sort of technologically corporate-focused antagonist who is personally scorned by Tony Stark.
Yeah.
And I like that more. I like the fact that they close that off with the same sort. It's a series that's about that. It's not about some kind of terrorist threat who isn't.
And like a magic man.
Iron Man's not supposed to
like-
represent American culture, and the Mandarin is
I didn't like how they
against
did
American
Mandarin.
culture in the film.
I did not like
It's-
how they did the Mandarin in that movie.
Oh, see, I didn't mind it.
I like
thought
the
it was kind of like an interesting kind of twist. I don't know.
I think
I
that-
know a lot of people really, really didn't like it, and like that was their like whole.
Well, to be honest,
problem with
because
the
I was
movie,
always a
but-
big fan of Armored Adventures, the TV show.
Yeah, Armored Adventures is great.
But that wasn't really the Mandarin either.
Yeah, that was Gene.
Okay, well, still
Yeah.
still better Mandarin than what they
I'm
called
glad-
the Mandarin in Iron Man in the movie.
But that wasn't.
Well, but
the
I think that's because
Yeah,
it's
but
not
that
the
wasn't the
I think that's
Mandarin.
the whole
Exactly.
point.
But I'm glad they didn't introduce magic in Iron Man 3 if they did the whole sort of
Yeah.
Mandarin subplot. That would have been super weird.
There's,
I'm glad they introduced this element of like magic and stuff with Doctor Strange because that actually like, makes
Yeah.
sense.
there's something to be said
They
That's
don't-
fair.
about a threat to Iron Man that is magic because he's grounded in technology. He has the limits of whatever he can do, but the idea is that he's the one pushing these limits with technology, which is why Doctor Doom's a really good Iron Man antagonist because he's essentially Tony Stark if he broke down and devolved into using magic, which is the really
Yeah.
interesting dichotomy between the two of them. But I feel like if they did the Mandarin with the magic rings, that would have, I think, dampened the confrontation between Tony and Thanos in these past
Yeah.
films.
Yeah, I
Because
agree.
that's kind of the threat that you have in these movies. The reason why Tony is pushed to the forefront of this confrontation is because of that part of his character.
Yeah. And I really liked Tony's kind of rant when he first comes back to Earth and he's back in the compound and he's getting really angry at Steve. And like, I
Justifiably
mean,
so.
obviously, well, yeah, exactly. And like obviously, he basically quotes Age of Ultron in it, and just like, yeah, I don't know, I can't put my finger on it. I just thought it was like a very kind of, I wasn't expecting it because I was kind of expecting with the kind of teasers from the trailers for him and Steve to just see each other and instantly put everything aside. But I thought it kind of made a bit more sense in hindsight that he was really, really angry at Steve.
Yeah, it does
Yeah.
make a lot of sense.
It kind of looks like Steve acknowledged that they were just going to lose. And like even before the battle had started, that he'd sort of resigned himself to that.
Yeah.
And that's what Tony was upset about. Like the
Yeah,
fact that they had that mentality about their defenses on Earth was really
That's true.
unfortunate.
mm,
Sort of the idea that they'd accepted that they had lost and they couldn't. This is one of the first times that Tony Stark isn't looking for a solution to fix things or to save something because he's always the one with the answer and he doesn't have the answer at this point, and so he has given up. So he doesn't need to reconcile with Steve because there's nothing they can do.
yeah. And also like the whole
Yeah.
thing with, because Steve was saying we'll lose and he said we'll do that together. But then, especially in
We didn't even
Tony's
do it
mind,
together.
Steve's the one who separated the Avengers and he's the reason they weren't all together when the time came.
Yeah, like Tony said, they're the Avengers, not the pre-Avengers.
Not
Yeah, I was kind of,
Pre-Avengers
it was
was-
in the trailer, but there wasn't the Tony's line from Avengers 1, where if we can't protect the Earth, you can be damn sure we'll avenge it. I would have kind of liked that in Endgame. I mean, I don't know
Mhm.
when the best time for it would have been, but I mean, they had it in the trailer. So,
Maybe
you know.
before they go time traveling, like
Oh yeah, that's fair, as part of like the
but
motivational thing.
Still,
But then that was
yeah.
more Steve's. Hmm.
That is another point as well, though, on the concept of them being Avengers. There's one criticism I've seen of the film is that a lot of people didn't like Thanos in the final battle because he has no connection to these people that he's fighting, which I absolutely loved because
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
I feel
really like an interesting like way to make it different to the fight in Infinity War. That it was
Yeah,
like
this is
still
kind of
fighting Thanos, but it was
petty.
almost like
Yeah.
it was almost a completely different person.
there's this petty notion that like he needs to know that they're defeating him because revenge is sweet. And it's like, no, that's not what they're about though. They're not doing this because they want the satisfaction of defeating Thanos. They're doing this because they want to save people. Because they could be.
Exactly.
And Thanos is here, and
Yeah.
it says so much about his character and so much about their character. He's here, he sees that what he did sucks, and everyone hates it, and he didn't save anyone. And he's like,
Yeah.
well, I'll just do it again. I'll just do something. I'll just do it better this time.
But worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he's-
But like it's total like a total subversion of his character from Infinity War. Like people, one of the praises for Infinity was that they managed to make Thanos a sympathetic character, but like it was like this character sort of character arc completion where in the end you realize that he is the Mad Titan. Like he realized his plan didn't work. So what is he going to do? He's just going to restart the universe.
Right, it totally strengthens his
Exactly.
character because in the first movie, it's kind of like there's a lot of people sitting there like, oh, he's got some good points. I like the what he's saying, like the whole movement of Thanos, right? And it's like the way he
I'm gonna
comes
start
across.
a subreddit.
Yeah, the way he comes across in this movie is he's just an arrogant dickhead. Like the reason why he
Yeah.
thinks what he
He just
thinks is
sits
because
down
he's so
while he tells
arrogant.
Nebula.
Yeah, and
He
I
tells
like
Nebula
how,
to go get the gauntlet for him.
Yeah, and like how he looks at what he does in the future, and he's just like, you know what? That's a good idea. Go and kill the Avengers. Why don't I just go do that now?
Do it. Oh,
Why don't I do this now in 9 years' time?
Yeah, he's like inspired and like
By himself.
also improved
after
by
he
his
sees
future
himself getting
self.
beheaded.
Yeah.
yeah, I really like
Like,
Thanos in
and
this.
he quotes himself. Like he quotes what he hears his future self saying with "I am inevitable," to just try and keep some like continuity going.
I
He's
didn't
like,
even think
"Oh, I
about
said that to them in their past as my future self, so I better say it again now."
Like ridiculous. Like I understand that from his perspective, the reason why you do that is like I said it and then he died, and now I'm back again.
And
so
now
it
I'm
must be
saying
inevitable.
it again. Yeah.
But then he just dies again immediately afterwards. What a ridiculous
Maybe his
thing to
death
say.
is inevitable.
Yeah.
Oh, my days. God, that last battle was so good with Valkyrie on the Pegasus killing those flying
Where did she get the
Chitauri
Pegasus?
things.
Where did she get the Pegasus?
It's a Valkyrie thing.
I need to, what's
Okay.
its name again? I need to look it up right now. I'll look it up. You guys keep talking.
Okay.
And just everything about that final battle. Like, it
Yeah.
kind of does the anime thing where people just sort of talk during a giant battle. Like, nothing's really going on. But
Yeah.
I think it was fantastic. Like,
Well, anime in general is fantastic.
Tony
So if
talk-
it's doing an anime style battle,
yeah. So if it's, yeah. I mean, it was actually pretty anime. So that was great. Like,
Yeah.
is it Black Dwarf? Is that one of Thanos' children? Like,
I think it's Black Dwarf.
I think Black Dwarf is the
doesn't
big
sound
dude.
right to me. Is it?
I don't remember if he
I
was
thought he
in
had
the
a different
movie, though,
name.
because they have different characters in the movie too, from Infinity, the comic that the Black Order's from.
yeah, it's Black Dwarf in the comics. I don't know if it's different in the movie.
I think they called it
But,
something
like,
else. I'd have to go watch Infinity War for the start
when
bit.
he gets like
Can't
absolutely
find its name.
demolished
Oh, well.
by like everyone when he was like he wasn't really a threat in Infinity War, but he just gets demolished by like Ant-Man and
Then Okoye just stabs Corvus Glaive.
yeah, that's just him gone. He was love it. It was so good. Proxima Midnight just sort of disappears. I think she just dusts.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. They all get dusted in the end.
Yeah. I hope they do something with the A-Force in like a future movie or something, because that moment where like they get the gauntlet and like charge through.
Can I say once and for all, everyone will hear this because it's going on the internet. That's not A-Force. One of those characters is in
that-
A-Force. Just because Captain
Yeah,
Marvel is
Captain
there
Marvel's an
doesn't mean
A-Force.
that's A-Force. It's like female Avengers. That's what A-Force is. No, A-Force is a team of distinct characters. It's like I don't want them to do Young Avengers and have it be like Kamala Khan and Miles Morales. No, they can be on Champions maybe. Young Avengers is
Or like
a-
some form of the Avengers, but not Young Avengers.
if they do A-Force, I want it to be the A-Force because I like that series. I want the characters from it, not just
So like She-Hulk and
Yeah, She-Hulk.
like Captain Marvel and
Captain Marvel,
Jean.
Nico. Jean wasn't there. Nico from Runaways. Medusa, who I
Oh,
don't
that'd
really
be
like,
pretty
but
cool.
it's interesting when she's in a series with other people.
Yeah. So, is there a team of like female superheroes?
Well, A-Force is a team of female superheroes. Do you mean just a team that is exclusive to female superheroes? And if you're female, you can be on the team. But if you're a dude, then
I mean,
they don't let you on.
no, I don't know. What's the best way to describe that bit in the movie when they're like all? I guess the
It's just the women.
female team up scene.
The scene that's
women of
pleasing all the
Marvel.
feminists.
I don't know if it was there to please feminists. I don't think it was them going,
I'm making a very
oh, we
crude
need to
joke.
make sure. Oh,
Yeah, I'm
it
just
was-
trying to make
it
a
was
very
crude.
crude
I
joke.
mean-
I'm not. Well, because
Okay,
someone's
right.
bound to get
Rightio
offended
then.
by it if they listen to it. There's some people out there that would get offended by what I just said easily.
I think it was more there as a point of inspiration. It's I didn't interpret it as them going, hey, look, no, we do have women in our movies. Don't worry about it.
I mean, to be honest, most of the movie has been just guys.
Yeah.
Like most of the runtime was
Especially
focused on
because
the main
the
six.
first
I mean, Nebula
Avenger
has
who
the
dies off in
second
it is the
most amount of
only
screen time.
female one of the original six.
Yeah, but she's also a bad character.
Oh,
Yeah. I mean,
I'm gonna be
you're
honest.
not wrong.
The only time she had any character development was in Age of Ultron, and everyone hated that. Everyone hated Black Widow's plot in Age of Ultron for some reason, and that's the only time she did anything or like had any character relevance or
Why did they hate
development
it?
or
I
anything.
missed that entirely.
Like she had a bit in Winter Soldier where she releases the Shield files
Kraken?
about her.
Oh.
Where she releases the Kraken, which is a weird thing because I feel like that's not really one of her. That's not really relevant. She did it,
She just did it.
but
She found Liam Neeson and released the Kraken.
I don't think she has a lot of development. I feel like she has a lot of involvement and people just enjoy seeing her on screen. But I don't like the character
I
that
kind
much
of
because
agree.
she doesn't develop too much. There was some stuff in Endgame, I'm going to be honest. Even, I'm not just going to be stubborn about it and say in all her, 9 years of films, she didn't develop at all.
Was
I
she
feel like
was
there's
she
some stuff
9
in
years?
Endgame.
Was she
I
8?
think 2010 was Iron
Yeah,
Man
she
2,
was
right?
in Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
yeah.
But is it 9 years yet? Was it beginning of the year or end of the year that movie was released?
I don't
It
remember.
was 2010, April 2010.
Okay, so yeah, 9 years.
I mean, like, I think she was one of my favorite bits of the sort of the aftermath of the snap. like looking into like the societal impacts of that and like how devastated she was that she just can't do anything and she's just hanging on for like the last thread of hope
Oh,
to do
yeah.
anything with her situation.
That's definitely the best
Yeah,
development
and the
I
bit
think
with
she's
her
got
and
since Age of
Steve.
Ultron.
Like when she's worried about underwater earthquakes and Okoye is just like, that's just a thing that happens
And we
in
can't
nature.
do anything about
Ye-
that.
Yeah, just leave it be. There's nothing to worry about.
My favorite
And
bit
it's
was
like, oh.
the look Carol gave Rhodey. Because
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I swear it was so
Oh, yeah.
unsubtle when I watched it, and I looked over at my sister sitting next to me, and she didn't react. And I thought that she was gonna pick up on that as well. But
That means you just have to rewatch it.
So Rhodey and Carol then?
I don't know if it's a
Is-
romantic relationship. I don't really care. I just like the fact that they interacted because those two are great. The idea that I like the sort of Top Gun Air Force bond that they have, and in the comics they have a romantic
Yeah.
relationship, which is fine. It can go either way. Just the idea of these two characters together is really fun.
Be interesting dynamic. I'd be kind of keen to see them hang out in like Captain Marvel 2 or like some sort of spin-off thingy, like even if it's like a Disney Plus show.
Even if she's super space focused, I want Rhodey to be there. He's been to space now.
I mean, like his bit with
Fair enough.
Nebula on like Morag, that was
Mhm.
so good. When he just took out Peter Quill just instantly.
Peter Quill got
That
bullied
scene
in
was
this
so
movie.
great. Just absolutely demolished.
Not even necessarily in a funny way
I-
every
I
time, just so cruel.
You chose him. I mean, it was between him and a tree.
Tree
What
wins
about
every time.
Drax?
I'll pick the tree.
What about Drax?
I love how they went
No.
to Groot before Drax.
Yeah. It's funny how Rocket doesn't even know the people on his own team.
He's been with
He's just
Mantis
like,
for 5 years.
Gamora,
Or is it 4?
Drax.
Yeah, it's 5 years.
person with the antenna.
Yeah, he doesn't remember Mantis' name, but he's been with her for like 4 years. Because Guardians Volume 2 is set immediately after Guardians Volume 1. It's still in 2014.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I thought it was like a bit of a time.
I mean,
Oh,
there's
that's
probably
why,
a couple
yeah.
months.
There's a time gap
Probably a little bit of
between
time.
Guardians Volume 2 and
And Infinity War, yeah.
Infinity War. Yeah, but
Peter Quill just
Rocket.
lowers his voice when he meets Thor. That's how I normally talk.
Oh, the bit at
he
the
is not a
end.
man. He is a god.
With the bit at the end.
You.
with
As
Thor and
Guardians of the
Guardians.
Galaxy.
As Guardians of the
Oh
Galaxy.
It's
my
like, oh,
days.
we all know who's in charge.
Me.
Yes, you.
Ah, yes, of course.
Yes, of course. I mean, we could just settle this with a duel. I've got pistols we could use.
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
this-
a duel would be a great.
No, please use knives.
Mantis. Yes, knives. Knives, a good idea.
Now that we've sufficiently reenacted that scene from memory.
I feel like we got it
He was
very
the
wrong.
best
I don't
Yeah,
know.
we did.
Yeah, I think it was very out of order, honestly.
Well, it was out of order.
It's still a great scene. I kind of like what they did with Thor in this movie.
Mm.
Like I've heard some criticism of it, like saying it destroyed this character arc he had in Ragnarok.
I don't. Okay.
But like, I don't
yeah.
think it did that.
No, I
Like,
don't really think it did.
I'm a big Thor fan. My opinions on this are, it kind of takes from the story arc, the unworthy Thor kind of story arc, without making him actually
Gotcha.
unworthy. They just kind of have the worry that he is, or he's worried that he is, which it seems kind of strange that they refer back to Thor: The Dark World. Everyone hated that movie
Yeah.
apparently.
I thought it was okay. It wasn't the worst possible thing.
I love the choice to do it because Freya is awesome, a great
Yeah.
character. The fact that they
Definitely.
I was surprised to see her, and again, I was pleasantly surprised because the idea of him being worried about his identity, his worthiness to be himself, like
Yeah.
Odin says when he puts the charm on Mjolnir, he says, "Whoever holds his hammer, if he be worthy, shall have the powers of Thor." So that means if
But
he's
does that
worthy to be
that
Thor, he's
charm
worried.
disappear when Odin dies, or not?
No, it's well. I mean, technically, that's from the past. So Odin was still alive when that charm was on it. So, but he's worried. What Thor is worried about is he's worried if he's worthy of being himself. It's not he's worried if he's worthy generally. Like people just say worthy. You know, just use the term worthy really generally. The idea of somebody being worthy of holding Mjolnir is someone being worthy of being Thor. So that conversation he has with his mother is really hard hitting. What she says is, "Don't be
Yeah.
who you're supposed to be who you are."
Yeah.
which kind of brings it like makes Thor: The Dark World's themes more effective, and then also brings together the themes of Thor Ragnarok into it, like
Yeah.
because it's like about him becoming the god of thunder, and then Infinity War sort of brings him back into the real world, but then in this movie it's sort of like him getting back on his feet again, and then finding out he doesn't need to be the god of thunder, he just needs to be himself. He can fail, and like that's fine, like everyone fails, but you can redeem yourself from that failure, and that sort of is sort of brought out with like you said, the conversation with his mother, and then also in the final battle scene with Thanos, when like he accepts who he is and works together with the team.
Yeah, and he doesn't play as like a huge game-changing role as he did in that fight in Infinity War.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. I didn't think about that.
That's it's also another reason why I don't like Cap holding Mjolnir. I know it's a big fan servicey moment and everyone loved it, but I don't really like it because it, that's. I know everyone's saying that you can reference the scene. Are you Thor, God of Hammers? No, you're not. So the hammer's not important, but it is kind of important. The being able to hold the hammer, not having the hammer, but being able to hold it is important to Thor.
Yeah.
So Cap being able to do it is kind of like a little bit of a disregard of that. I can push past it because
Like sort of taking it away from
that much.
Thor, and it was really well done in the movie. So it's like, I mean, this could be an issue, but it was also fantastic. So
fair enough.
I also wouldn't say that Captain America's worthy.
Yeah, I know what the criteria is for being worthy.
It's somebody who's
there should really be like a list
of being Thor. Not like it's not just like a good guy. Like Cap's a good guy, sure. He has high moral
standards. Isn't the whole idea that pretty much all of them are supposed to be a good guy?
I think the game changer.
His actions in like Civil War and stuff were like kind of. Don't know about that one, but
I think the game changer in terms of what makes you worthy is your like royal and divine honor and like spirit, which I don't think Cap could have divine honor. I don't think he would see himself as a divine figure,
a god.
But
maybe he had that
humble.
spirit though, like. Because he had the spirit to push on, even when they had failed.
There's some
Maybe
suggestion
that's how you could...
that his spirit in the moment is what, like, he's able to do it in the moment because he needs to. But, I mean, he can hold it later, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's my backup for that is just that's why Wonder Woman can pick it up. That's why Storm can pick it up. It's these characters who are gods and goddesses and royalty.
Wait, Wonder Woman picked? Oh, in the DC Marvel crossover one. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so they have like some prerequisite deification kind of stuff going on there.
People who can humbly view themselves as gods, but aren't so humble as to view themselves as.
So has Hercules picked up Mjolnir?
Hercules picked up Ragnarok's Mjolnir. I remember that at least in Civil War, and it was there's maybe my favorite moment in Civil War. Ragnarok is the like clone robot version of Thor, and Hercules like smashes his head open with the fake Mjolnir, and he says, "Thou art not Thor."
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I like Hercules. That was the moment that Hercules was solidified as one of my favorite characters.
Fair enough.
Big Thor fan, so.
Yeah, big Thor fan, so that makes sense. Quickly touching back on Tony's arc for a second. I think like everything we've talked about so far culminates in Pepper's last words to Tony, and I think it's like that's why this movie is such a great end point and why it didn't need like an end credit scene and all that, teasing the next phase, because this is the end of the arc and
the end of the game.
Like her saying the end of the game, GG, and it's just like
I'm here all
week.
week.
You can rest now. Like that's basically resolving Tony's arc. Like it's okay. You've saved it. You managed to save everyone. You can finally rest. Like that was
movies.
Yeah, like he's just developed over the past minute. He can't rest. He keeps making suits. He keeps trying to defend the Earth, but he finally did it, and that's when he's able to rest, and that's when his character arc finishes, and then like did the funeral stuff, and that just tugged on it. Our heartstrings even more. Oh
man.
I feel like he must have done
your dad
more,
liked hamburgers too. Oh no, cheeseburgers.
Cheeseburgers.
Sorry,
specifically.
cheeseburgers.
But I feel like he must have done more, right? Because he's Tony Stark. Like that's something that about the snap, that Tony's snap, that he wouldn't have just snapped away Thanos' army, right? He would have, knowing that he was
Snapped
going to die
what
doing
people
it,
back.
he would have. Well, I mean,
Snap
everyone
people.
was already back. I think he would have left something behind.
Oh,
I'm not.
maybe
I'm not,
that's why Far From Home is still in Phase 3.
Oh,
We're
Yeah.
gonna find
we're
something
getting
else
into the Far
about.
From Home theories.
I'm not
Is
saying that it
then-
was left out of the movie. I'm not saying that that it's going to be something in the future. I just feel like as Tony Stark, he wouldn't feel comfortable dying with the power of, everything within the universe.
Creation.
Yeah, at his fingertips, and he
Yeah.
just does the exact same thing that Thanos did. Like, he's not a copycat. He's an innovator.
Yeah.
I
I'm
hadn't
sure.
thought about
Yeah.
that,
I'm
but
almost
that's a good
certain
point.
that he
Oh
would have
my
done something
gosh,
else.
it's bringing back around Justin Hammer. This is
He freed-
Thanos
he
is
freed
Justin
Hammer
Hammer.
from jail. That's what he did.
Yes, we can get him back in.
Yeah. He left a
Uh,
separate
the
hollow
fri-
message for
the
Justin
rescues.
Hammer saying, "You are my true successor."
I would actually be so entertained for like a sort of superior Spider-Man kind of Justin Hammer trying to be Iron Man. Like, because he not because he's a good person, but because he needs to prove that he was better than Tony Stark, so he's trying to be a superhero.
Oh my days! I would actually watch that movie, or
I think
like
most people would.
a rescue standalone movie where it's just Potts dealing with Justin Hammer for the whole movie.
It's kind of like a oh man, there's definitely a movie that I'm thinking of where all the episode of Iron Man on Adventures. This is a better example where Happy gets the Iron Man suit and
Oh yeah.
he's sort of stumbling around in it, and
Yeah,
Tony has to
yeah.
make him. He's basically controlling the suit, and he makes Happy think that he's doing all this heroic stuff. It's basically doing all this heroic stuff, making Justin Hammer think that he's doing.
Heroic, yeah.
Would be quite funny actually.
No, it's just that the ex-wife scene over and over again for 2 hours.
Do all kind of ex-wife scene. When you releasing this, John Favreau?
John Favreau, come on, give it to me. Give it to me. D- yeah, with a snap, he released Justin Hammer from jail. With no ramifications for his actions in Ireland. I'm really, like... This movie left me kind of sad. Will this ever happen again? Do you guys think?
Yeah, I was thinking that about how like they could ever do anything like this again, especially now that there's no more Tony Stark and effectively no more Steve Rogers Captain America.
I cry.
No, it'll be
Yeah.
Justice League 2. Justice League 2 will top it.
Wait, Justice League 2 is going to have the culmination of 11 years of cinema. But
Yep.
it was like stealth under your nose. You didn't actually notice.
It was really the Suicide Squad.
This is like
Actually,
a bunch of
every
random
Batman
films that have
actor
come out
has
over the
all
past
been
decade.
canon.
Oh my god. Please.
I
If we can get archival footage of Adam West.
I mean, Disney at this point could probably totally recreate Adam West and put him in a movie. Do you reckon that was like age makeup or CGI Steve Rogers or Chris
apparently
Evans or like an
it-
old man?
Apparently it was 10% CGI, 90% makeup.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So
That was a
Chris
good
Evans just did
scene.
a good job. It was, I mean,
Yeah.
and the makeup artist, obviously.
But how did they do the voice? Did he just
did it.
put on
Yeah.
his best impression?
He
of
just
an old man?
did a voice.
Legitimately, for a second, I thought, oh, they just can't cast Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, for real. Oh my days. Yeah, it is. He just looks like Clint Eastwood. Yeah. I think Bucky knew that Cap was gonna go and
Mm.
marry Peggy and stuff, but
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it the first time, but the second time it seemed a lot more like that was the case.
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad Cap didn't give the shield to Bucky.
Oh, that would have made no sense. No, it wouldn't have made any sense if he did that.
Mm-hmm.
No. And also, now that Falcon is basically Captain America, it makes me want to watch the Falcon Winter Soldier TV show. Like, just to see what they do with that dynamic now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think it's the dynamic definitely developed in an interesting way, sort of on the side of the screen. Just the fact that those two were together in that scene, they were both there. Like, I know that they were there to send off Steve, but it definitely seems like every time they have a scene together, there's something that I'd like to see explored, but they haven't touched on it. So the idea that they're doing a TV show about them is fairly interesting to me.
Yeah. I'm keen for WandaVision. Love that name. It's such a good name. One other thing, like the whole Thanos not remembering, like this Thanos hasn't like done what the other Thanos did. Like when Scarlet Witch goes after Thanos, he's just like, "You took everything from me." It's like, I don't even know who you are. But that was a real gut buster of a scene. She's just like, "You soon will."
Yeah, and she almost wins.
Yeah, she almost just
defeats
destroys
Thanos
him.
on her own, and he basically just calls in, like, just blow everything up. He just
Special
panics.
shout out to the random sorcerers who just put up the shields there. Oof.
Yeah.
My
real
reaction was
Yeah.
up the sorcerers when they did that. I was just pretty hyped about that. Really got into it.
It was all Wong.
Yeah.
When we put them all up. The other sorcerers were pointless. It was all Wong.
It's another one of those things where Wong is the puppet master. He makes all the other sorcerers think they have magic, but he's actually the sorcerer supreme.
Wong is
Wait,
Thanos.
a whole-
Confirmed.
a solo Justin Hammer movie where he thinks he has magic, but it's Wong the whole time.
I'd watch a solo Wong movie. Is that a possibility?
I would love that.
It's just him trying to get a sandwich, but it's really just a rehash of Hudson Hawk.
They should just do like a Birdman sort
It's
of
him at a
long-
Beyonce
long
concert.
shot, sort of following Wong's days. He tries to get a sandwich, but all this mystical shit keeps happening and distracting him. They never cut away. You see his entire day in real time. It's a 24-hour long movie.
It's
I'd
as
watch
long
that.
as half the MCU. Just Wong. Just so much Wongness.
Nothing
be
wrong
like-
with that.
Shut up.
Oh,
Shut
no.
up right now. Be so quiet. Just shh. No tears, only dreams.
That'd be kind of like if Marvel made a Marvels movie. I think that'd be an interesting way to
I
do it,
would love
like a
that.
sort of Birdman style,
I think if we give it
like just a
another
one shot
30
of the
years
reporter.
the MCU, we could have a really good Marvels movie.
The reporter like talking about the snap and like
Yeah.
really getting that human perspective of all these huge events that happened throughout Marvel cinematic history.
They don't have the Gwen
That'd be
Stacy
really
element,
cool.
which is what really ties Marvels together, I think.
Well, I mean, maybe in Far From Home,
Maybe. Look, I just hope they don't
Maybe.
kill off Betty Brant just because she's clearly supposed to look like Gwen Stacy. Because Betty's my favorite.
I'm kind of glad they've made Flash just like a main character for Spider-Man now. He's not just bullying. He's
well,
like
I mean, he
Oh,
kind of
Penis
was the main
Parker.
character.
Penis Parker.
I don't want to fight you, Flash. I don't want to fight
Wouldn't
you
want to
either.
fight you either. Jesus,
oh,
Parker,
damn.
you are a freak.
His character kind of Flash's character.
Take it
in
from me, Flash.
Homecoming.
That's from Amazing Spider-Man. I don't know that one.
We're just taking different ones. Come on, Flash, take it.
He kind of reminds me of Anderson from Sherlock.
This is a really
Like-
strange one to go for, but I can see it.
He's just like this total bully for Sherlock, but then, well, it's kind of like
Secretly
subverted
obsessed with
because like Sherlock's bullying him, and he's just like, "Oh, you fucking moron!" And then he's just like, as soon as he dies in quotation marks, he just turns into this like Sherlock fanatic.
Speaking of Robert Downey Jr. and Sherlock, they're making a new one of those Sherlock movies.
Yes,
I'm
and
so happy
Gavin's
about that,
working on it.
finally.
Yes, I'm keen for another Guy Ritchie movie.
I mean,
Did Guy Ritchie make
the fact that
one?
they're making a new one is kind of a spoiler for the end of the second one if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to go ahead and
Well-
say anyway, the ending, the last scene. The
If you haven't
fact that
seen
they
it, it's been
don't
out for how
explain
many years now?
Yeah,
Like,
the fact that
I
they
think
don't explain how he
2014 was when it
survived,
came out.
and he's
No, they
just
don't
there
explain.
disguised in the room is
As a
it's
chair.
one of my favorite endings to a movie. Ever.
And like when he's typing up the book and it's just
He
like
just puts
the
a
end,
question mark
and then
on
he's
it,
just
yeah.
like, that's so good.
This movie's really fun.
Yeah.
So
I hope Robert Downey Jr. like just does more stuff now.
he's doing Dr. Dolittle.
Well, I like the
He
originals.
is in that one with Eddie Murphy
Eddie Murphy wasn't the original.
as Donkey.
As Donkey. Yeah, he was the donkey. He was just talking like Donkey could talk to everyone, not just Dr. Dolittle. So he was kind of like Dr.
Wait,
Dolittle would be like, I can talk
which
to
Dr.
animals.
Dolittle?
And everyone would be like, I don't believe you. And he's like, check out this donkey. And then the donkey talks, but it has Eddie Murphy's voice as well. And so they think, oh, he's just doing the what's the name of ventriloquism? That was the
Yeah.
joke that I was gonna make, and it would have been good if I didn't forget the word.
It is Eddie Murphy. He's Dr. Dolittle.
Yeah, he's Dr. Dolittle, but he wasn't the original, was it? Am I thinking of the Nutty
Oh,
Professor?
the 60s one.
Yeah, yeah. I
There
know
there
the
is a
Nutty Professor
60s
was
one
a thing
who
that
is
he made as well.
Rex Harrison.
Mm-hmm.
I
haven't seen them,
I don't
just
know.
know that they exist.
Radio.
Can say one last thing about Endgame. Like my last complaint, it shouldn't have been called Endgame. I think
Infinity
What
War
should it
Part
be
2.
called?
it should have been called Avengers Forever. I just think,
Look, not sure I agree with that one, but
look, no, it absolutely should have. I think Endgame is a bad title. I think Avengers Forever is much more about the themes. Like they say Endgame because this is the end, but it's not. Like the whole point of the movie is kind of it's not. Like it's the end maybe for some of
Wait,
the
what?
characters, but it's not the end. Nick doesn't know this, but
And
there's
for
more
like
movies,
this arc.
and the whole
I
point
mean,
is
yeah, I
that,
guess
that
that's a fair
don't-
point. It's more
the whole
like an
universe
endgame
hasn't
for
been
like
destroyed.
Tony Stark rather than
Yeah.
like the Avengers.
and it takes
I feel
from
like-
the comic Avengers Forever as well. So I don't see why they wouldn't have just done that. The whole time
That-
travel element is straight out. of that book.
How much? Okay, so like if they'd called it Avengers Forever, people would have known it's from that comic book before the movie was come out, maybe. And also for the non-comic book consuming audience, they would have just thought it was like a rehash of the Wakanda Forever thing,
Really?
Yeah.
maybe.
Is that where? You, okay.
I mean, that's
Yeah,
where my
most
brain went.
non-comic book readers for Marvel movies would associate the word forever
It's-
to Wakanda Forever.
Forever
I
can only
mean,
have
I
one meaning.
wouldn't have
It's
thought
in-
that. I just
in a
I
language
just think that
isn't even English.
yeah, I just think that Endgame was just like better for marketing because they could just market as like the big dramatic finish to
Yeah.
this really long series.
I mean, it is better for marketing. I just feel like thematically, and if a title ever has any actual importance thematically, I think Avengers Forever would have been better.
Yeah, I see your point.
But that's a minor complaint. I just wanted to put that out there.
The title.
Yeah.
Ruins the whole movie. 2 out of 10 bad title.
I give the title 6 out of 10.
I give the title 69 out of 100.
Nice. Yeah, I give Avengers Forever 69 out of 100 because that's nice.
Ah, dear.
Oh dear, indeed.
Are there any other final thoughts you all want to have on Avengers Endgame?
Can't wait to see it again.
Yeah, same.
So, how many times has everyone seen the movie?
Twice so far.
Wow.
I've only seen it once. I'm going to see it again this week.
I've only
3
seen it
times.
once.
Nice. I think it's better on the second watch.
What the-
Like, there's
I
like
agree.
the surprise factor of like some elements, like who dies and all that. Like, that's really good on the first watch, but once you're like,
But then you can
But then you're
appreciate it
shivering
more
with
when you're not trying to figure out what's about to happen. Patient.
No. I wasn't gonna
No?
say it. I was gonna blue ball everyone.
I'm gonna say
it's
it.
just like
I don't care that you broke your elbow.
it's like the Avengers Assemble thing. They're just blue balling everyone for 22 movies.
You said
and then
20
they're like,
years.
20 years. With Ang Lee's Hulk.
They were doing that with Rescue. There were like hints of Rescue in the first movie, in Iron Man, and it's like every time. Oh,
Really?
she'll be in Iron Man 2. No, the hint Rescue again at the end. She'll be in Iron Man 3 because in the trailer you see Tony putting the armor on her using the extremist sort of thing.
Yeah,
Now
that's
she
true.
just kind of wears
was
it for
teased
like
a lot for
a
Iron
little
Man
bit of the
3.
scene. She doesn't actually get her own suit of armor.
Well, I mean,
Rescue's
people thought Tyrese, whatever his name was going to be in Iron Man 2, but he wasn't. So
Oh, Terrence Howard.
Opportunity there, buddy.
Terrence Howard.
I was trying to
Tyrese.
figure out who Tyrese was.
I'm pretty sure he's from Fast and Furious.
Yeah, that's Tyrese Gibson
Wrong
from Fast
movie.
and Furious. Earn that paycheck, Tyrese. If you get that reference, you'd watch trash on YouTube just like me.
Yeah, unfortunately, damn it. you got me there, Zach.
I know you too well.
Yeah.
Ben will
Oh,
just
dear.
don't mention it because then Ben will just get mad at us.
No, I'm already mad. I hate that channel so much.
You're same. It's just so trashy, but I can't stop watching it. But yeah,
I'm
it's
mad
really
at
bad.
the
You're trying to figure out what
indication
channel
that
we're
it's
talking
something
about.
that I don't like.
Oh no, you've mentioned multiple times that you don't like it. We've had
Yeah,
conversations
like
about this.
it's. Yeah.
We have had multiple conversations about the fact you do not like
Is
this
it
channel.
Family Guy funny moments?
No, no, it's not. Surprisingly.
I think I think Kib tweeted something about like, oh wait, no, it might have been Mega64 posted like this video title that was this funny Family Guy moment that is racist but still funny.
These videos
That's
have the
Family Guy on a
weirdest
show
titles.
though.
Ugh. I do want to say, Captain Marvel was pretty great in this movie.
Yes,
Yeah.
she was very good. Remember when she just tore through Thanos' ship? Like this
I
huge
knew it was
ominous
coming as well.
thing that's been.
Remember when he
I was
tried
like,
to
"Ooh,
headbutt her
a
and it
giant
did
ship,
nothing?
That's Captain Marvel's. That was my favorite
Yeah.
bit in the entire movie because it was like
He's
put
done it
much
so
effort
many
into-
times to everyone.
They put so much effort in these movies to make it look like these Thanos' punches like have heavy impact. There's a bit where he punches Steve Rogers right towards the end, and I'm like, oh, he looks like he died from that immediately. And it's like, the fact that they just went, okay, so it's all special effects, all of the punches. It's all special effects to make it look like it's just these heavy punches. Let's remove all special effects because this is looks like it's going to be the heaviest punch ever or the heaviest hit ever, and it's just nothing.
Yeah, it's just.
It was so good. It was so entertaining to watch.
And like when she meets Peter Parker, like after she's torn through the ship, and he's just sort of like there, and like, "Hi, I'm Peter Parker.
Hey there, Peter
Hi,
Parker.
Peter Parker. You've got something for me?"
That was a really good line delivery.
Yeah, that was really good. I saw a video today by, I think it's Nandos v
Oh yeah, I know that guy.
someone.
Ah,
He's
yeah.
rewrites
Yeah.
and stuff, right?
Yeah, so he did something different with the like female team up scene thing, where instead of Captain Marvel, who came up to Peter Parker and said, "Give me the gauntlet," sort of thing, it was Nebula, and then behind Nebula, like Gamora from the other universe would come up behind her. Then the rest of the like female characters would join them after that.
Oh, yeah.
because then it wouldn't be just like that would kind of fit into like complete Nebula's arc, trying to get the gauntlet to the van instead of to Thanos.
Nebula's arc was already
which
completed.
I think
when
would
she shot
be
herself.
interesting.
I
Yeah.
don't think you need to do anything after that. I think when she killed her past self, that was a both literal completion of her arc in terms of that's her preventing herself from going, from following Thanos' orders. She's physically stopping herself from doing it because she's her inner character turmoil is so difficult a struggle that she literally has to kill herself to stop herself from doing it because she is one of the most interesting characters that they have. There's that sense, and there's also the sense that she's killing herself, which is kind of a metaphor for a few different things. But I think that that's a really good symbolic end to her character arc. I don't think you then need because I think
This next scene,
it's
no.
the next scene is the handing over of the gauntlet. It's literally them, the newer introduced characters, Black Panther, Spider-Man, Captain Marvel, like the Marvel's.
the next generation of Marvel Cinematic Universe characters.
It's sort of like a wink at
Kind
the
of.
audience, like we're banking on you liking these characters.
Yeah.
Well, suck it, because we don't. I'm kidding.
Oh,
Maybe
okay.
I'm not.
That Tony and Spider-Man reunion.
Oh man.
And when Tony just hugs him, he's just like, "Oh, this is nice." And then he's just like, "Oh, Mr. Stark." Oh dear, I'm not gonna recite the scene, but
And then he does this.
it was, and then he does this, and then he does that, and that is very funny.
And now he's under sexual harassment charges.
Whoa.
and that's another
I don't even know
Family
which
Guy
character
funny
you're
moment
talking
right
about.
there.
I'm just predicting what Family Guy's going to make jokes about.
Or are they like South Park where they release episodes really soon after a big event or something and then go,
This one will
this is
probably be
culturally
pretty quick.
relevant?
Well, it probably won't be released. They're probably making the Endgame stuff right now. And it'll be released in turn when it's meant to be.
It'll just be a very funny joke about Peter pointing out a plot hole that isn't really relevant to anything.
It isn't actually a pothole. He'll just go on.
Why don't you just be in space the whole time?
No, what did I say it was going to be? Just after we saw the movie, I said Family Guy's going to do this, but I can't remember what I said.
What was it?
No, it wasn't Fat Thor. It was something else. It's like something that didn't happen. Oh, Ant-Man, the Ant-Man thing that was really big on social media.
Wait, are they just
Yeah,
gonna
that's
rip
what
off
Family Guy's.
a meme and go like,
Yeah,
but we actually
well,
did it. So, is that funny? Is that funny?
Yeah,
If we
Family
did
Guy's
that?
done that many times
Is this-
before.
Am I out of touch with the kids?
No, it's the children. Who are wrong.
Thank you for letting me store my glass case of antique cologne bottles in your office, Seymour. Quite unreplaceable. Yes, quite. Dark Stanley. Maybe talk to a proper licensed professional.
You just watched the Superintendent Chalmers best of video.
Yeah, it's great. I love that video.
Steamed hams.
That was the final clip. Steamed Hams was the final one.
Did they include the
It's like
entire thing?
Yeah, they literally just played the entirety of Steamed Hams at the end.
Because it's such a perfectly written sketch. It's so tight. You can't like cut any bits out because the entire thing is entertaining the whole way through. It's
Delightfully devilish, Seymour.
yeah, the fact that he never
dear.
he leaves without finding out that everything was fucked up is a really good punchline. Because it's so incredibly obvious. But somehow he leaves.
Aurora Borealis.
He just believes the Aurora Borealis. Like,
Seymour, the house is on fire.
No, it's not.
It's just the Northern Lights, mother.
Best scene in
Top
Endgame.
scene from game. Best scene in Endgame is just steamed hams.
The tacos?
The infamous taco heads.
Get a lot of sympathy for the Hulk.
Like the filling gets knocked out, and that's like that kind of sucks. And then Rhodey lands, and he like nearly has a heart attack, and you just, oh, poor Ant-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
He doesn't deserve this treatment.
he does.
He deserves much, much worse.
Whoa.
What?
Your reaction's a bit late. 5 minutes later. What? Nick, any final statements?
Yeah, Nick, final thoughts for this
Going for
episode.
like 5 hours.
An hour 49. That's only
All right.
close to 2
Thanks everyone
fifths.
for listening to this episode of the podcast.
Nick will now do
It's
his
been a
outro
good-
music.
Nick will now do the outro music, which is the
It's
the
thank you
ska
and good
cover
night.
of.
Ding, ding, ding.
I don't even know the tune. We don't get it right.
That's not bad.
It is incorrect.
It was close enough.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Any other final thoughts on Endgame? Anything else you want to get off your chest before we
I'm
finish up?
sure I forgot about
Sound
something.
like
It's just
podcast,
so disjointed. We're not used to having this many people in it.
In an episode, it's normally just sort of Nathan doesn't say much, and then it's just other
And I
discussion.
say too much.
bits. Yeah,
Thanks.
and then I'm just the mediator.
Yeah. Overall, an enjoyable movie. It's something that is very difficult to pull off on this scale, I think.
Yeah, that's
It made like
true.
a.
Yes.
Was it $1 billion in the first week? Right?
It made $1.2 billion in the first weekend.
And it's
Weekend,
on
my
track to
bad.
overtake Avatar, which I'd like to see, because
Ooh,
Yeah,
is anyone
because
interested in Avatar?
I'm interested in the
my favorite.
sequel
Okay.
they're making.
Here's a fun game. Name like 2 characters from Avatar.
I can name
Jake
one.
Sully.
Jake Sully. Jake Sully.
Jake
Blue Man
Sully.
Group.
That's only from the Funhouse
Yeah, that's the
movie.
only reason why. I
Blue
know
Man
this.
Group.
And his dead marine brother. He's in it at the start, getting burned up.
What a fucking meme. Where did that come from?
Sigourney Weaver was in it. I don't remember her character's name.
Oh, she was. She
Played the
was in
doctor.
that movie.
Yeah.
Said the doctor, but I can't remember her name.
Rodriguez. Maria Rodriguez.
Um,
Is that her name? Fast and Furious girl?
Oh, which
Oh, yeah, that's
she's the
right.
mechanic or whatever that
Yeah,
character
the
was.
pilot.
Yeah,
She was the pilot.
Zoe Saldana was in it, and she's in.
yeah.
Endgame.
She's in 2
What a
multi-billion
fall
dollar franchises.
What a fall from grace. Film such a great movie like Avatar, they get stuck in Endgame.
I'd prefer.
Oh yeah.
I'd prefer her to be in the top 2 than for the top 2 to be James Cameron movies, especially since it's not Terminator 2. So what's even the point?
So true. Wait, has Zoe Saldana been in $3 billion grossing movies?
Well, yeah. Right?
I mean, like,
mean-
sorry, different franchises.
Oh, from different
like, not-
franchises. What was the other
Yeah.
franchise?
So Avatar, like MCU movies, various. Let me just. Did one of the Star Trek movies
Was
make
she
a
in those?
billion? Yeah,
The second
she
one might
was.
have.
Maybe.
I don't think the third one would, because
No,
the
it
third one was
didn't.
bad.
did the
Well, that being
did
said-
the Terminal starring Tom Hanks make $1 billion?
She wasn't in the Terminal.
It's one of her credits.
Who was she in the Terminal?
Dolores Torres.
Ah, yes, that character. Who I remember all the characters' names in that movie.
She was the plane.
I never
Adam
trust-
just coming out swinging at the end of the podcast. The fucking
she
Blue
the
Man
one
Group and the plane
That he had to
joke.
get his. That he had to go and get the green, whatever the thing that he needed to get accepted was. I think that was her.
His green card?
Yeah, the Scream card.
No, green. The color, green.
Yeah, but I don't think it was a green card because I don't think he was working there.
I can't actually. So it was just like MCU movies and Avatar, and I saw an article that's just like, I wonder what Zoe Saldana is gonna do for her next project, and it's just Avatar 2, Avatar 3, Avatar 4, Avatar 5.
Because they're filming all of
It's
them at
just
the same time.
James Cameron, what are you
He's
doing?
filming them all at the same time. He's going to release them all together, which I'm sure will.
It's just one movie
Successful.
that's 10 hours long.
With intermission between each part. 30, 50
Not even.
one.
No, you
those movies are
can't
number one.
leave your
It's
chair
just
for the 10 hours.
You gotta know your ticket's free if you don't leave your chair, but if you do leave your chair, the ticket's $100.
Yeah, it's a discount.
The no chair discount. The no leaving.
But you
discount.
need 3D glasses.
You need to own your own 3D glasses.
Why are we talking about Avatar?
Or the
I don't know. This
What
is
are we doing?
Am I used to
I think
looking
it's
What are
time.
we doing,
At this point,
guys?
it needs to end. Yeah, I think it needs to end now that we're just
Yeah.
talking about this.
we've drifted off into nonsense. So we started nonsense and we finished in nonsense.
And
Hurry up,
there's
Matt.
So-
nonsense all throughout the middle.
I
Exactly.
want to
So
play
it's all
this
pretty
game.
nonsense. This unstructured series of events that this podcast has seemed to
Were they
thrive on.
unfortunate?
So no, unfortunately they weren't unfortunate.
Oh, but Jim Carrey
Um,
wanted them to be.
That's the one you go for? Okay.
So yeah, next
And
up,
my
Sonic the
recommendation
Hedgehog.
of the week is to watch a series of unfortunate events TV series, and not the movie.
Starring Jim Carrey.
Not the movie.
Starring Jim Carrey.
No, starring
I'm talking
Jim
about
Carrey as
Sonic the
Dr. Robotnik.
Him as Dr. Eggman looks amazing. I want to see it so badly.
He wanted to kill those kids so bad because they knew where Sonic was.
With these kids, they introduced James Marsden in the trailer, and then Sonic's running around with a bunch of kids, as though they were like they established a relationship in the trailer that you're supposed to understand what's going on with them.
Remember when that trailer made a joke about like kidnapping kids? It's like,
Oh no, it's not. Like, this guy's weird. I'm gonna leave him alone. Like, you're not gonna call the police or something. Like, try and stop him from kidnapping a baby.
Something just took out the entire power grid in the entire Pacific Northwest. Really? How the hell?
the best bit about the movie. He went too fast. The best bit about the trailer was Weird Al's tweet after the trailer came out, and the tweet says, "Man, so they used a cover of Yamish Paradise in the trailer, huh?"
I didn't see that tweet.
And on that note, it's time to end.
And on that bombshell, I am Iron Man.
Da, 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 da. Anyway, thank you all for listening. Another banger of an episode. Thanks, Nick, for just sort of contributing every now and then. And thank you, everyone else, for joining me this week. It's been nice having some guests on
it's
for a
been great
change.
being here.
Thank you, Ben.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. Thanks, Zach. It's been fun. Like, for being one of the biggest movies and it being actually really good, I'm happy. I'm
Yeah.
happy with where we're at with the MCU. So again, thank you all for listening. Thanks to Kubi for the use of the theme song "Up in My Jam." All of a sudden, it's an absolute banger, and the rest of the songs he has on his SoundCloud are fantastic as well. You can find him on SoundCloud. Guys, we're still doing well in terms of listens and stuff. I think we're almost at 300 listens for the podcast, which is crazy
Hey,
that
awesome.
anyone would actually want to listen to this fucking shit.
They're very bots.
Like-
They're all bots.
Wow.
I don't believe
They're all
them.
they're all bots actually.
It's all
Ben,
fun.
you told
Thanks,
them?
Roxas. Oh,
Kingdom Hearts is
Oh.
coming up next week.
Next week is Kingdom Hearts. I finished Kingdom Hearts 3. I watched like stuff for the mobile game.
Ooh,
So
yes,
I'm essentially up to date. And you know, Zegbar is still the best character.
Zach knows all about Loxane.
On that bombshell,
Yeah, he jumps off a cliff and flips you off.
I was doing the boss fight in Kingdom Hearts 3. I was like, Zigbar should flip you off in this scene.
We were discussing the possibility of creating an M-rated version of Kingdom Hearts where Zigbar swears
Kingdom
and
Hearts.
flips you off.
fuck you, Soren. Your heart of hearts jumps off backwards, flipping you off with both hands.
Yeah, exactly. Then I'd play that game.
And he just has a giant penis.
That's just accurate, though.
That's just accurate.
That's just stating a fact. Is that really wrong?
Remember when Sonic's penis was in Sonic Adventure 2?
Okay, guys, we
No.
need to stop.
We just
We need to stop. We need to stop.
I'm gonna stop recording now. I think we can end that.